Flow State is incredible in Legacy, but is it so good that we should be splashing blue in the mono-red Storm deck? Let's go find out. Let's begin by thanking Peyton Story for today's donation deck. Peyton, thank you, thank you, thank you. I've been actually working with Peyton on this deck list for over a month, and when we were first working on it, Flow State was not legal. Instead, we were playing Ponder, and I really liked the idea of playing Ponder in this deck for a turn 1 play. And that's because we're playing blue. We're playing Thundering Falls, Volcanic Island, and even a basic island in the deck. And the thesis behind this deck list was, well, modern Ruby Storm always splashes a color for answers or the surveil lands or just, whatever. Why doesn't Legacy do the same? And the answer is traditionally Ancient Tomb to power out your Ruby Medallions, which is something that the modern deck does not have. So they're able to leverage the surveil lands and fetch lands for added consistency. Well, even with Ancient Tomb, I think the last league that I recorded, which you can find in the card above, proves that you still lack consistency, and maybe Ancient Tomb isn't the way. So Peyton wanted to try a blue splash in order to add in consistency from Ponder and Brainstorm. After that, we gained Flow State. So Flow State is a super powerful card from Secrets of Strixhaven for 2 mana. You often get to put 2 out of the top 3 cards to your hand. You could read the card for yourself for the actual text. So Peyton wanted to try Flow State, and Peyton was unsure if we should be cutting Ren's Resolve and Reckless Impulse or the Ponders. Peyton ultimately landed on Ponder, and I'm not so sure that was the correct decision, because I really liked the idea of fetching out Basic Island on turn 1 and playing Ponder, and then setting up for your turn 2 Ruby Medallion or Rail Monsoon Mage, adding consistency. Flow State adds consistency, but it's slower, and I think if you're already cutting Ancient Tomb, becoming even slower could be problematic. And I'm not sure if that was the correct decision to make, but that's what we're playing today. And then another issue with Flow State, in my opinion, is that it's not reduced by Ruby Medallion. Ruby Medallion reduces all red spells by 1 generic mana. Flow State is not a red spell. So this will always cost 2 unless you have a Rail Monsoon Mage to reduce it, since Rail reduces instant and sorcery spells. So I recommended maybe instead of Ruby Medallion, we play Brawl, Chief of Compliance. But Peyton really liked the idea of Ruby Medallion not dying to creature removal, since Rail Monsoon Mage already dies to creature removal. I don't know if this is correct. I don't have super strong opinions here, but today we're going to be playing the Ruby Medallion instead. So there's some wiggle room in this deck list to include Ponder and Brawl, Chief of Compliance. If you want Ponders, you probably have to shave down on Ren's Resolve effects and add those Ponders in. So that is the deck list. We'll see if blue adds consistency today. I'm willing to bet it does. And I'll be honest with you, in the mono red builds, I've never loved how clunky it can feel. Jessica's Will is not a card that I'm ever excited to play. And I feel like I'd rather have better cards like Ponder and Brainstorm and Flow State than something like Jessica's Will. And then on top of that, in the sideboard, blue offers you actual answers to things we care about, like Deafening Silence, for example. Crazy concept. I know that mono red build has Wish into I'm blanking on the name right now. Blast Zone. Took me a second, but I got there. And I'd rather play something like Into the Floodmaw than Blast Zone personally. You also gained Boomerang Basics as a Burning Wish target. And if you're wondering why we're not just playing 4 copies of Boomerang Basics, that's fair. But if you look at the way our deck is constructed, there's nothing you want to bounce with Boomerang Basics in order to draw cards. There's no Chrome Mox or Mox Opal or anything like that, so Into the Floodmaw makes more sense. Something that came up in the comments of my previous video was, why aren't you playing a sideboard copy of Wish? This allows you to cast Burning Wish, or the sideboard copy of Wish, to then get Storm of Memories, which will cast the Wish for free. Because currently, if you just Burning Wish into the sideboard copy of Storm of Memories, you might not have an action spell in the graveyard for Storm of Memories, and then you end up fizzling. So this guarantees the ability that your Storm of Memories ends up converting. On top of that, if you're playing Wish, you could actually grab sideboard Aetherflux Reservoir in order to beat something like the One Ring, which is a lot better than Alchemist Gambit in my opinion. So that is the deck tech. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you have any insights, put those in the comment section down below for myself and Peyton to maybe learn something about Ruby Storm. But for now, we're going to hop on into match number 1, and I hope to see you there. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. You can also show your support by becoming a member of this channel. You get sweet perks such as badges, emotes, early access to videos, exclusive members-only content, and access to our members Discord section. As you increase the tiers, there are other rewards such as shop discounts, sideboard guides, and even free donation decks. Click the join button down below to find out more. We also have other ways you can support us, like theepicstorm.com/shop or submitting a donation deck via theepicstorm.com/donation decks. That's enough for now. Let's play some Magic. Welcome to match number 1. We've opened up a no-lander. We will mulligan. This seems fine. I will keep. Get rid of the second copy of Ruby Medallion. Our opponent leads off with a Scalding Tarn, Basic Island, into Ponder. So something I just realized when we were queuing between the deck tech and now is this deck plays 16 lands. And part of the reason we were feeling comfortable with 16 lands is that we were playing 4 Ponders, and then we went and cut the Ponders. So I wonder how often in this league we end up having mana issues due to not having enough lands in the deck or not having the consistency that Ponder provides. I'll play the basic mountain and pass the turn. They have a swamp, so likely Dimir tempo. I think I'm going to just play my land and pass. I don't want to play a spell into daze here if I can help it. Orcish Bowmasters, surprise, surprise. They play Underground Sea and a Barrogoyf. Okay. They have 3 cards in their hand. We'll take a few damage here. And step will fetch with the Arid Mesa. We'll go grab a Thundering Falls. Get rid of the Scalding Tarn. We don't really need land number 4 at the moment. Desperate Ritual. We'll play Ruby Medallion. And that resolves, we will pass. So I could try to Ren's Resolve, but why would I want to play into Daze? I think that's just being a little impulsive. See what I did there? And I think that we could just be more disciplined and wait until next turn. They have a Wasteland. I still think waiting is correct, because next turn I can play Rite of Flame into Ren's Resolve, or just Ren's Resolve on its own. They swing for 4. I'm dealt 2 damage by the Barrogoyf. They mill over a Force of Will. You love to see that. Now they play Flow State. They have both instant and sorcery. They have 4 cards in their hand and they pass. We will attempt a Rite of Flame. They brainstorm in response. Rite of Flame on the stack. We'll play Desperate Ritual. Now we'll play Ren's Resolve. We hit a Flow State. That's cool. Let's try Flow State here. Actually, Flow State costs 2. So we'll play Desperate Ritual first. And now we'll try the Flow State. And it resolves. We'll take Desperate Ritual Volcanic Island. Play the Volcanic Island, play another Desperate Ritual, and now we'll try Flow State. I would love a Storm of Memories. Rail Monsoon Mage, I'll take that, and Ren's Resolve. We'll play the Rail Monsoon Mage, and now we'll try Ren's Resolve. We'll say Tails. Yes, I would like to transform. Ren's Resolve. Let's ultimate the Rail Leyline Prodigy. Look at all these cards. We'll play Seething Song. Let's play Flow State. We'll take double Manamorphose. And now we'll cast Burning Wish. Yes. I'll grab the sideboard copy of Wish. We'll play Ruby Medallion. And now we'll play the Wish for 1 mana. We'll grab Storm of Memories. Okay, let's play our entire graveyard. Whee! Rite of Flame. And our opponent, now realizing that they're dead, they concede. We've won game number 1 versus the best deck in Legacy, Dimir tempo. I think we want Hexing Squelchers. There's really not a whole lot to sideboard out, if I'm being honest. I know that recently a bunch of the Dimir tempo decks have been playing Damping Sphere for the Tron deck in Legacy. So this might seem crazy. I think I might board out Brainstorm versus the Orcish Bowmasters deck. And then we'll do Hexing Squelchers and into the Flood Maws. I'm a little worried about that land consistency aspect, but I don't know, it seemed to work there. Game number 2 on the draw, I will keep. We really need to find land number 2 with this hand. They play Polluted Delta and they pass, sure. And that's a land. I love to see it. We'll play Bloodstained Mire and pass. So you could Surveil here, but I would really like to make myself immune to Wasteland. So I'm going to end up getting another basic mountain. They have an Undercity Sewers. Surveils away Wasteland. That's a confident move. They play Polluted Delta and now they pass. Another Rail Monsoon Mage. Okay, I was originally not so sure if I was going to play anything this turn, but now I think I'm going to. We'll play Rail Monsoon Mage. I expect a daze to happen, or if they are already sitting on a fatal push, they'll probably just remove it. But we have 4 2-drops here, so I think we're supposed to try to push our advantage a little bit. Instead, they flash in Orcish Bowmasters. They have land number 3. They're swinging in with both. I'll block the Bowmasters. So if they flash in another Bowmasters, my Rail Monsoon Mage won't die. So they have to have something else here. Yeah, I think they expected me to block the Orc army. But this was just like an on-board move. That would have been really bad. So like I had no incentive to make that block. You're drawing to Ren's Resolve. I'll just play Ruby Medallion here. I think trying to jam, I don't really need to make that play. So I'd rather play out the Medallion. They Force of Negation. That's a great, like, I love that. Like, I have another Ruby Medallion in my hand already, so I don't even mind. They Hydroblast the Rail Monsoon Mage. Okay. 2 cards in their hand now. They play a Brainstorm. They have a land. 1 card remains in their hand. So this could be like a hardcast Force of Negation. We'll play the Thundering Falls. Get rid of the land. I'll play Ruby Medallion. Hopefully it's not a Force of Negation, but we'll see. And it resolves. Pass. Brazen Borrower? It is. Okay. So they have 1 card. They now swing for 3. I'll go to 9. Alright, so we know that the coast is clear. I think I'm going to try to win on my turn. We'll play Ruby Medallion. Rite of Flame. We'll play Rail Monsoon Mage. Seething Song. So Storm for flipping Rail is N-2. I do not want to flip. We'll play Ren's Resolve. Tails. No. We'll play another Ren's Resolve. Tails. I go to 8. We'll play another Seething Song. So this is 5 spells towards flipping Rail Monsoon Mage. We'll play Burning Wish. Hold Priority Manamorphose. We'll say Tails. I lose. Red, red. The Orcish Bowmasters gets to do 1 damage now. I go to 5. Say Tails. I lose the flip. I'm at 4. Yes. I will grab Storm of Memories. Let's play Storm of Memories. Rail Monsoon Mage. Let's try to transform, please. Tails. Yes, we finally transform. Beautiful. And our opponent just lost the game. We'll play Seething Song. Seething Song. Ren's Resolve. No, I don't want to cast Manamorphose. Rite of Flame. Ren's Resolve. And the others will just fizzle. We'll play Desperate Ritual. Reckless Impulse. Why not? We'll play the Hexing Squelcher because I can. We'll play Volcanic Island. Cast the Flow State. We'll take Rite of Flame, Burning Wish. Play Rite of Flame, cast Burning Wish. And now we'll go grab Grape Shot. Here we go. Love it. Dimir Tempo losing match number 1 versus Izzet Ruby Storm in Legacy. Wow. I didn't even use my Rail Monsoon Mage Ultimate. Nice. Alright, round number 2 will be coming up in just a moment. Packs.com is the new way to open your favorite cards. It's a site where you open digital packs of trading cards like Magic the Gathering, Pokemon and One Piece cards, and have the cards you open mailed quickly and securely to you. With a wide range of packs to choose from, such as the latest Magic sets, Kaladesh inventions, or even beta. I'm going to open a beta pack. What's great about Packs.com is you can see all of the cards and their odds of being opened in each pack. Now it's time to open one and see what I get. Come on, Black Lotus! If you don't like what you opened, you could sell it back instantly for more packs, or sell it and pick a specific card from the marketplace over at packs.com/market. If you want to check out packs.com, make sure to click the link in the description of this video and use code STORM5 when making a purchase for 5% extra on your first purchase. We're back and on the play for match number 2. Let's go. Keep. We'll play Basic Mountain and pass the turn. So if you're watching this and you're wondering, why doesn't Bryant play Rite of Flame into Ruby Medallion more often? I just don't think that's a good use of resources, if I'm being honest with you. Like, we're so light on resources in this deck in general, where I feel like that's kind of just like spewing an advantage. We'll play Ruby Medallion into Daze here. It's only because I have a second one that I'm willing to make this play. They search out Volcanic Island, Spell Pierce. Okay, so they did not have a Daze there. Or most likely did not have a Daze. They play Brainstorm, now a Scalding Tarn. So Brainstorm allowed them to see 4 new cards that turn, so there is a chance they had Daze. We'll play Rite of Flame, and now I'll play the Ruby Medallion, so that way this doesn't get hit by Daze. They have 6 cards in their hand. They fetch in response. Another Spell Pierce. Okay, this is probably Sneak and Show then, the fact that they have multiple spell peers. And it is in fact Sneak and Show. They play the ugliest stock-up art I've ever seen. We draw another Burning Wish, just the clunkiest draws. We'll play Reckless Impulse. Play Scalding Tarn, pass. They have a Polluted Delta. They fetch. Sneak attack. Am I dead? They activate. I am dead. Okay. We'll go to the next game. That was fast. I don't. Well, I guess we probably want Hexing Squelcher. This is not likely a great matchup for Flow State, so I'll board 2 of those out. And let's try it again. Flow State's really good in grindy matchups. It's not as great when your opponent's just murdering you. So that is why I'm okay siding it out here. Game number 2 on the play versus Sneak and Show. I will try this. I don't know if this hand is actually good enough, but we'll see what we can make happen. Arid Mesa, pass the turn. They have a Scalding Tarn. We'll fetch and go grab a Thundering Falls. Here we go. Surveil trigger on the stack. Goodbye, 2 Manamorphose. I will attempt a Burning Wish here and see if they counter it. So I thought about playing the Flow State, but I would have rather them countered the Burning Wish, but they did not. We'll grab another copy of Flow State. Pass the turn. And step they Brainstorm. They have an Ancient Tomb, Lotus Petal, 6 cards in their hand. We find the land. We'll fetch, grab Volcanic Island. I'll play Rite of Flame. This gives me both instant and sorcery in the graveyard for Flow State. I could also theoretically play both copies of Flow State this turn. They Flusterstorm. Okay. I actually don't mind getting this out of their hand due to Storm of Memories. We'll play another copy of Flow State. And they have a Spell Pierce. A little annoying, but not the end of the world. At least we're not dead yet. They cast Ponder. And now a Thundering Falls. Gets rid of a Brainstorm. That is not a good sign for me. Rite of Flame actually allows me to play Storm of Memories this turn, assuming that everything resolves. Manamorphose. We really need this Brainstorm to find another mana. I'm going to risk it and cast Brainstorm, looking for that mana. Well, Desperate Ritual makes a mana. Okay. We'll play the Desperate Ritual and hope that they don't realize I have Storm of Memories. And now we'll play the Storm of Memories. Let's see if we can power through a copy of Force of Will here. They have a Disruptor Flute. Okay. They name Flow State. We'll play Desperate Ritual. Manamorphose. We'll make red, blue. Another Manamorphose. Blue, red. Storm of Memories. So this costs 3. Is this worth 3 mana? I think so. We'll take Seething Song, Rail Monsoon Mage. Storm of Memories. Plays Rite of Flame. Okay, let's try a Ruby Medallion. Rail Monsoon Mage. Ren's Resolve. Fails. We lose the flip. Play Seething Song. Fails. Yes. We'll play Reckless Impulse. Play Manamorphose. Red, blue. And they concede. We did it. Nice. Okay. So far, so good. Submit the same configuration. Game 3 on the draw, we will keep. They have a first turn Thundering Falls. We'll play Scalding Tarn and pass. I would like it if they just went turn 2 Show and Tell into Emrakul. That would be delightful. Ancient Tomb. Okay. We'll fetch with the Scalding Tarn. Let's see if we can use our Surveil land to find a Hexing Squelcher. We don't need land number 4. Desperate Ritual. If they had Show and Tell, they probably would have played it, so I'm going to cast the Ruby Medallion here. No Spell Pierce, that's a good sign. Please resolve. And it does! Great news. Alright, now we need them to not murder me. Please no murder. Disruptor Flute is not murdering me. I will accept. Storm of Memories? Manamorphose. Okay. A fair name. And we draw into the Manamorphose, of course. Let's try to... I'm going to just play the Desperate Ritual. This happens every single time, and I know that I talk about it in my Modern videos, but people love to scream, "You could have spliced!" Yeah, I could have. And then my opponent could have used a Spell Pierce or some other soft piece of counter magic to blow me out. I don't want that to happen. We'll play Seething Song. Let's try a Reckless Impulse. They make a red in response. Is that an accident? What are you doing? Blue Elemental Blast. Interesting. Let's attempt a Burning Wish. They Force of Will, exiling a Force of Will. Alright, I'm going to spend 4 mana on Manamorphose. Please draw into Storm of Memories. Blue, red. I will accept another Burning Wish. We'll play Burning Wish. Yes. We'll grab Storm of Memories. Desperate Ritual. Storm of Memories. Too easy. Boom! Here we go. I'll play the Brainstorm so that way... Oh no, that's off the Reckless Impulse. I think we're going to let it resolve a bit. We'll play Burning Wish. Yes. Grab the Grape Shot. Desperate Ritual. Seething Song. Desperate Ritual. And now the Manamorphose that will cost 3. We'll make blue. And now we can play the Brainstorm. Put back 2 lands. And now Brainstorm will happen again. We'll cast it. And the opponent concedes the match. Izzet Ruby Storm 2-0. It's feeling pretty good and very consistent. Let's see if we can win match number 3.
Building a new deck usually means getting hit with a dozen different shipping fees from a dozen different sellers. It adds up fast, and honestly, it's the worst part of buying cards. That's why I switched to Card Trader Zero. You shop their global marketplace, but instead of having every seller ship to you, they ship to Card Trader's hub first. Card Trader then packs everything into a single shipment for you, and it saves a small fortune on shipping fees. This package from Card Trader just arrived. These are 4 dark rituals that came from 4 different sellers, but they all arrived in one envelope, and every card was quality checked by the Card Trader team before it hit my door. Check out the link in the description to try Card Trader Zero's optimizer for yourself. Stop paying for multiple shipments and get just one.
We are back for the 3rd match and on the draw. I cannot afford to keep this hand. We will mulligan. This one is reasonable. We will keep. Get rid of Ren's Resolve. Chalice of the Void on 0. Nice. They play a Mountain. Chalice of the Void for 1. That one is less nice. In fact, it's just kind of rude. Okay. Hope you feel good about yourself. We'll play Thundering Falls, keep the Manamorphose, pass the turn. Thinking about it, I actually cannot beat a Chalice of the Void for 1. I would have to Burning Wish into Wish for Hexing Squelcher. That would be my out. Thankfully, there's not that many 1-drops in the deck. We'll grab Volcanic Island, play Monsoon Mage, and then we'll pass the turn. Their Fable of the Mirror Breaker triggers. They're choosing on if they would like to discard any card in their hand, and they get rid of a Pyroglyph. Okay. Maggots of the Moon. So I purposely fetched out the Volcanic, hoping that they would play a Blood Moon effect, and I can't believe it happened, but they did. We'll block here so that way I don't take any damage. Low state. Let's begin with a Reckless Impulse. Trigger. Heads. Or I'm sorry, I meant tails. I always do tails. No, I don't want to transform. So we hit the Burning Wish. We'll play Manamorphose. Trigger Rail. We'll do Tails. No. And I'm going to do blue-red here so that way I can cast the Flow State. Definitely not casting this Brainstorm. We have both instant and sorcery in the graveyard. We'll play Flow State. Tails. No. Manamorphose. Oh my. Here we go. We'll play Manamorphose. Are we going to end up transforming this rail? I hope so. Tails. We lose the flip. We'll do red. Another Manamorphose. Tails. That was the 5th spell this turn. I'm wondering if I should be making a blue. I don't think I should. The odds I draw another Flow State are pretty low. Alright, so spell number 6 is a Burning Wish. Rail will trigger, and I believe I'm now allowed to transform. I am. So we'll choose Tails. Say yes. Burning Wish. Yes. Grab Storm of Memories. We'll ultimate the rail. Hopefully we hit some mana here. Well, I hit more copies of Storm of Memories. That's just as good. And I can't believe it, but we're going to beat turn 1 double Chalice of the Void. Looks like they're getting what they deserve here. We'll play Reckless Impulse. We can play Brainstorm into the Chalice of the Void. It just ups the storm count for Storm of Memories. I'll play Ren's Resolve for mana. We'll play Seething Song. And now Storm of Memories for free. Storm 13. Yes, I would love to cast a Manamorphose, thank you. Blue-red. The 4th Rite of Flame. We'll play Reckless Impulse. I don't even know what to reveal at this point. I need the Storm of Memories to resolve more. We'll play another Manamorphose. Blue-red. Desperate Ritual. We'll play a Flow State. We'll take Ren's Resolve and another Flow State. Manamorphose. We'll do blue-red. It looks like the exile has revealed itself now. We'll cast Seething Song. Play a Brainstorm. This will get countered. Ren's Resolve. So the last one is Manamorphose here. So I should Seething Song from exile just to make sure I get to use one of these Storm of Memories. Cast the Seething Song. Sweet. And now we'll play Burning Wish. Yes. We'll grab the grape shot. Target you. Boom, boom. Storm 28. Nice Chalice of the Void deck. We probably want Into the Flood Maws. Actually, we might want Hexing Squelchers too. Hexing Squelcher beats Chalice of the Void. I mean, I wonder if Hexing Squelcher is just better than Into the Flood Maw. I guess Into the Flood Maw beats Leyline of the Void and Trinisphere. So I'm going to try boarding out Brainstorm. I know it's wild, but I think it might be the worst card in my deck. And then we'll shave one Flow State versus the Blood Moon deck, which turns it into a Burning Wish target. Game 2, no lands we cannot keep. This one has 3 lands. We'll keep and get rid of Rite of Flame. They have Leyline of the Void, and a Shatter Skull Smashing is their land. They have 3 cards left. We'll play Thundering Falls, keep the Reckless Impulse, pass the turn. They play another Shatter Skull Smashing as a land, and Disruptor Flute. What will you name? They name Flow State. Okay. We'll play Volcanic Island. Once again, I think if you have to try to get tricky sometimes, or trick your opponent into thinking that you may not have something like a basic island in your hand. It comes up in my tutoring sessions a lot, where I try telling people they need to create a story. And sometimes the story might not be obvious, but you need to try to give your opponent an impression so that way they make plays that might favor you. They're like, well, how do you ever beat double Now Spellbound, for example? It's like, well, you have to make them think that at some point in the graveyard no longer matters. And you start pivoting into another game plan or something like that. And I know it's not always obvious, but those are the level ups that will help you get better at the game. Another land was not particularly good here. I'll play the mountain. Let's try Seething Song. Trigger the Rail Monsoon Mage. Tails. Reckless Impulse. Tails. Ruby Medallion. Okay. Let's try Ren's Resolve. 3 instant and sorcery spells towards flipping Rail this turn. I'll say Tails. No. Ooh, we're living closely here. We'll play Seething Song. This is the 4th instant or sorcery. Reckless Impulse. So this is the 5th. Rail Monsoon Mage. Ooh, we might be all in on Manamorphose here. I'll play the Squelcher. Manamorphose, I choose you. Be good to me. Please be good to me. Rail triggers. Tails. Yes! Let's go! Blue-red. We'll play Rail Monsoon Mage from Exile. We'll ultimate this one. Beautiful! Rite of Flame. Trigger. Tails. Yes. Rite of Flame resolves. We'll play another Rail Monsoon Mage from my hand. We'll ultimate this one. Look at all these cards! My opponent says well done in the chat. Thank you. I'd like to think so. I didn't play Chalice of the Void, that's for sure. Desperate Ritual. Desperate Ritual. Just imagine being the prison player and thinking that you're the good guy. Couldn't be me. We'll keep the new Rail Leyline Prodigy with 11 loyalty. We'll ultimate Rail Leyline Prodigy. Firm is 13. You know what? I would like to flex on this person a little bit. Let's play Burning Wish. Yes. We'll grab the Wish. We'll cast the Wish. And now we'll get Aetherflux Reservoir, just for the memes. I will now play Rite of Flame. Trigger the Aetherflux Reservoir. Play Desperate Ritual. Let's play Manamorphose. We'll make 2 blue mana. I'm at 69 life. Nice. We'll play Reckless Impulse. We'll cast another Burning Wish. Yes. We'll grab Grape Shot. Cast another Burning Wish. Yes. We'll grab Empty the Warrens. Cast another Burning Wish. Yes. We'll grab Boomerang Basics. We'll play the Rite of Flame. I have not gained enough life yet. We'll give them a 1/1 and bounce their Leyline of the Void. I'm at 204 life. We'll shoot them with the Aetherflux Reservoir. I realized that I could have held priority and shot them multiple times. Maybe a missed opportunity, but we did beat the prison deck, which is great. We're now 3-0. Moxfield.com is the easiest way to build a Magic deck online. They support over 30 formats, including Legacy and many other Eternal formats. There are so many options to view decks the way that you want, from text view to individual cards, mana value, and even card price. There's also light mode and dark mode. My personal favorite feature is card tags. This way you can sort cards by function. Moxfield supports collection tracking, Scryfall search, decklist feedback, and so much more. Follow me on Moxfield.com so you can stay updated on all of my decks. We have returned for the 4th match. We're on the draw. Our opponent has revealed the Yorion Sky Nomad. Our hand is fine. Like, it's not incredible. I like that our Scalding Tarn can grab the basic island against a likely Wasteland deck. because I'm guessing our opponent is playing Death and Taxes. So we'll see how this goes. Shadowy Backstreet. They get rid of pre-war Form Aware, and I mean, this sort of confirms that they're on Death and Taxes. We'll play Arid Mesa and pass. So my game plan here is to grab the Surveil land, and then on my next turn, Brainstorm plus fetch land for the basic island. They play Aethervile. We'll go grab the Thundering Falls, Surveil, get rid of that Rite of Flame. So this is great because it helps every other Rite of Flame in the deck make more mana, and it's a sorcery for flow state. Ooh. I think I'm going to just play the Ruby Medallion. I was going to Brainstorm plus fetch land, but I'd rather get this Ruby Medallion on the battlefield. This is definitely a matchup where I'm glad we're playing blue, because I have those bounce spells in the sideboard for Deafening Silence. They play Thoughtseize. Good luck. Like, would you take your Desperate Ritual because it's the only unique effect? Everything else creates card advantage. Like, if I was them, I would actually take the Desperate Ritual. They take Storm of Memories. Okay. We'll play Scalding Tarn. Let's go grab the basic island. We'll play Desperate Ritual, so that way, this way we have instant in the graveyard. We'll play Flow State. Costs 2 mana. We'll take Reckless Impulse, Rite of Flame. And now we'll play another Flow State that costs 2 mana. Rail Monsoon Mage, Ren's Resolve. Let's go. We'll play Rite of Flame, Rail Monsoon Mage, Reckless Impulse. So this flip will not transform it, but the next one could. Alright, so we have a 50-50 here. I will play the Burning Wish. Here's our chance for glory. We do it. Yes. I will grab Storm of Memories. And then we'll ultimate the Rail Leyline Prodigy. Rite of Flame makes a ton of mana here. Manamorphose. Blue. This game is over. Play Brainstorm for free. We'll put back 2 lands. I guess I could get rid of 1 with a Flow State. That still gives me enough mana to Storm of Memories. We'll take Brainstorm plus fetch land. And now we'll Brainstorm for free. Get rid of land. Burning Wish. Storm of Memories. Am I wrong? Oh no, I messed up. That Brainstorm wasn't free. I thought that was a free Brainstorm. I might have just punted. So my top card is dead. I know that. I wasn't paying attention. So I can double Reckless Impulse here. That might be the move. Or I can, like, be a coward and pass. Like, I could Burning Wish, Grapeshot them for 15, but I don't even think that's good. So we'll just Ren's Resolve here. And I missed. This is my own fault. We'll play the Rail Monsoon Mage and pass. I was too far ahead of myself, and I paid the price here. I thought that the Brainstorm was free, just going through the motions, and then I was wrong. They Swords to Plowshares on the Rail Monsoon Mage. We'll play Brainstorm, put back 2 lands, play the Scalding Tarn and we'll fetch, grab Volcanic Island, play Manamorphose, red. We'll try Ren's Resolve. I need mana. Well, that is mana. Desperate Ritual. Move the exile cards over here. We'll Manamorphose. Red. We'll try Storm of Memories for 6. We'll play Brainstorm. Put back 2 lands. Another Brainstorm, okay. Put back 2 lands. Low State, sure. We'll take Seething Song in a land. Desperate Ritual. Manamorphose. Storm is 10. Red. I'm lucky that my misplay didn't cost me the game. Another Manamorphose. Red. We'll play Seething Song. Another Seething Song. Play Rite of Flame. Burning Wish. Storm 17. Yes. We'll grab the Grapeshot. We'll play Manamorphose. We're just going to gain a couple more life here, so that way a Solitude wouldn't keep them alive. But then our opponent ended up conceding the game anyway, and we win game number 1. We definitely want Into the Floodmaw, and I think I want to get rid of Brainstorms. So this is a grindy matchup. They're an Orcish Bowmasters deck too, so I feel like Flow State is just better overall. They have Thoughtseize to, wear down your hand. They have Bowmasters. Like, Brainstorm is fine, but I feel like Flow State would be better. And I think I'm actually going to bring in the Empty the Warrens as a win condition, in case they try to Surgical Extraction my Burning Wishes. You could bring in the Grapeshot as well, but I like the idea that Empty the Warrens beats Graveyard Hate. Nope, we need mana. We will mulligan, begrudgingly keep. We'll put a fetch land on the bottom. They have basic plains into Aethervile. We'll play Thundering Falls, keep the Burning Wish, pass the turn. They have a Wasteland. Goodbye to my Thundering Falls. We'll play Arid Mesa and pass. They play Witch Enchanter as a land, 5 cards still in their hand. We'll draw for turn. It's another copy of Rail Monsoon Mage. We'll grab a basic, play Mountain, and then Ruby Medallion. Pass. Aether Vial goes up to 3. So now Recruiter of the Guard for a 2-drop could be backbreaking. Here it is. No, Lauren of the Third Path. Okay. Was not expecting that. We'll play another Ruby Medallion. Send it back to you. They leave the Aether Vial on 3. They swing. I'll go to 17. They're going to use the Aether Vial. Liquor Wisp. So this will blink the Lauren of the Third Path to kill my Ruby Medallion. That's annoying. Yeah. I mean, this is classic Death and Taxes right here. Disruptor Flute. They name Burning Wish. Okay. So I could try to do something here. I don't know what that something is, but I can go Seething Song, Rail Monsoon Mage floating 3 mana, Seething Song again. That would bring me up to 6 mana. Burning Wish would cost 4, so I'd have 2 mana floating, which isn't enough. So I need to just play my Rail Monsoon Mage here and pass. Aether Vial goes up to 4. They have Solitude. A good start for the opponent. They attack for 5. Ouch. We will fetch. 3 cards still in their hand. We'll grab Thundering Falls. Do not need a Rite of Flame. Another Burning Wish. So this is the same situation I was in last turn where we could cast Burning Wish for 4 mana, but the 2 red remaining doesn't do anything. So I will play Rail Monsoon Mage and pass. Aether Vial can now go up to 5. So if they have land 3, they can put the Yori into their hand and then blink it. Blink their board, that is. So they could change what Disruptor Flute is naming. They play Overlord of the Baelmerk, which can return the Solitude. They do return Solitude. I might just be out of this game now. Ah, brutal. I mean, we had a solid hand. Our opponent's hand was just, you know, really well set up to combat ours. Bloodstained Mire. Yeah, they got me. I suppose I could go Seething Song, Burning Wish into Grave Shot, but then I'm spewing my entire hand. I guess we'll try it. Grab the Volcanic Island, play Seething Song, and another. Burning Wish. Yes. We'll grab the Grape Shot, and we'll clear their board. They have 2 cards in their hand. They do have an Overlord of the Baelmerk, and a Yorion, and a Disruptor Flute. Like, I'm just so far behind. Now they have Recruiter of the Guard. After a lot of deliberation, they decide to grab a Lion Sash. We'll play Ren's Resolve. Probably one of the better hits here. Okay. So you're saying there's a chance. Ruby Medallion. Pass the turn. Instead, they tap the Aether Vial. Do you actually have a 5-drop? They have a Solitude. Okay. So the attack here will put me down to 3. They put Yori into their hand. So they can blink the Disruptor Flute and name Reckless Impulse now. But it doesn't look like that's what they want to do. I mean, this is face up. We'll begin by casting Reckless Impulse. Arid Mesa and Storm of Memories. I will fetch down to 2 life. We'll grab Volcanic Island. Play Rite of Flame. Makes 3 mana. I guess I'll cast Storm of Memories for 3. I don't think Burning Wish is the answer here. Costs 4 mana. And then, what can I even get? Boomerang Basics for a Wish? Yeah, we just need to get lucky with the Storm of Memories. Play Rite of Flame. Grape Shot. This is not a hit that I wanted right now. Target you. And then Recruiter of the Guard, Solitude you. They're going to use the Aether Vial now. And they're going to blink one of their objects. Well, they could blink any number of objects, but they left the Disruptor Flute. I don't even know what a winning game looks like from here. Probably involves me needing to reveal Seething Song. Rite of Flame. I don't know if that does it. So, Burning Wish costs 4. That would leave me 4 mana, so I could Storm of Memories again. Okay. No, I can't. Right? I only have 7 mana. I'm a mana short. Literally, the only thing I could do here is bounce the Yorion to try to stay alive. But they blinked everything, so I'm dead anyway. It really did have to be Seething Song. Yeah, I'm 1 mana short. Okay. I mean, that was a close game. I mean, our opponent had a very strong hand, but we almost won it. So let's just try to keep positive and win game number 3 on the play. Maybe even keep a 7-card hand. Okay, here we go. This is a 7-card hand, but it's lacking that second land. This makes me nervous. The upside is so high if we hit, I will keep. So my question is, in the Wasteland format, am I supposed to surveil on the end step to try to spike that second land? My gut tells me yes. They have a Marsh Flats, Scrub Land, and a turn 1 Deafening Silence. We have the answer, but I need mana, and for them to not Wasteland me. We'll grab Thundering Falls. That is a land. We'll play the Mountain and Ruby Medallion. Pass the turn. They have a Wasteland. Unfortunate. I'm going to try to Reckless Impulse and hit a land here. We did. Pass. They play Prismatic Vista. No. Ah, brutal. Why? That's just so mean. Yep. They had no play last turn. They drew Thoughtseize. It's just so cruel. They take the Into the Floodmaw. I'm going to grab the other Surveil land here. Thundering Falls. Do not need a Seething Song. To your surprise, I will not be casting Storm of Memories. I will pass. They fetch with Prismatic Vista. Stoneforge Mystic. They grab Pre-War Formalware. We'll play Reckless Impulse. Tails. We do not flip. And I did not hit a land or a bounce spell, so I will pass. The Burning Wish could get Boomerang basics. They have Shadowy Backstreet. The fact that they surveilled a Stoneforge Mystic to the graveyard was very good for them, because of that pre-war Formalware. We're going to use the Stoneforge Mystic. They already had Meteor Sword in hand. Wow. Okay. We'll play Rail Monsoon Mage, because this doesn't count as my spell for the turn for Deafening Silence. And then we'll Burning Wish and go grab Boomerang basics. Alright. Pass the turn. They have 4 cards in hand. I think that they were probably supposed to destroy my land with the Meteor Sword. They exile my Rail. Okay. I think this is my chance. We'll Boomerang basics on Deafening Silence. Desperate Ritual. Seething Song. Seething Song. Burning Wish. Yes. We'll grab Storm of Memories. We'll empty the Warrens. Okay. And now Storm of Memories. I don't know why I did this. I was thinking like, oh, I could possibly flashback the Empty the Warrens. No, I can't. Storm of Memories is 3 mana or less. So I should have waited. I guess I'll bounce the Skyclave Apparition. I don't know. I get a creature this way. Seething Song. Boomerang Basics. Our opponent has conceded the match. Let's go! Alright, so we saw the Blue Splash was meaningful this round. Having actual answers to Deafening Silence came up. And we are now 4-0, about to play for a trophy with a Ruby Storm. Looking to make playing your favorite combo deck much easier? Look no further than the Epic Storm Mini Combo Pack, which is available at theepicstorm.com/shop for $15.99. This token combo pack comes with 84 double-sided tokens featuring classic Storm and Mana tokens with new inclusions such as our modern Ruby Storm package, but that's not all. Our token pack covers a variety of formats from Pauper to CDH with new tokens. Stop on by theepicstorm.com/shop and make an easy decision to elevate your combo game. For the trophy in match number 5, let's go. Yeah, we'll keep. We'll play Bloodstained Mire and pass the turn. I'm not sure if I'm going to Surveil or not. It really depends on what I think the opponent's playing. Just because I don't want to get my land wastelanded, I really need both of these lands. They have a Polluted Delta, okay. They fetch. Turn 1 Thoughtseize, okay. They take one of my 2 copies of Ruby Medallion. I'm not going to fetch here. I'm just going to take it my draw step. Drawing more lands would actually be good for me. And we draw exactly that. Pass the turn. They play Ponder with a quick shuffle. Bloodstained Mire. Our opponent's pausing a lot. Like, they're already down to 20 minutes on the clock. So I'm just pointing it out there that they're really laboring on every decision. So it might come down to them timing out at the current pace of play. I'll play Ruby Medallion. They fetch in response. They brainstorm, digging for that force of will. Ruby Medallion resolves. Let's go. Pass the turn. Another copy of Thoughtseize. I think the pick here is actually Reckless Impulse, because my hand doesn't do anything. And Reckless Impulse could find more mana, which is what I do need to turn on the Burning Wish and the Storm of Memories. But they just take the Storm of Memories. I would have taken Reckless Impulse. And now they play a Flow State. 6 cards in their hand. I am not going to fetch into the Wasteland. I will fetch now. And I think I want... It's tough because the basic island doesn't actually help me here. But I do have Brainstorms and Flow States in my deck, so I think I'm supposed to grab it. We'll play Ren's Resolve. Oh, I should have played the Reckless Impulse. They know about Reckless Impulse. They didn't know about Ren's Resolve. So that's a small misplay on my part. The Force of Will exiling Daze. You got it. Sure. Now the Reckless Impulse that you did know about. And I'll fire off Brainstorm into Daze here, just because I'd rather not get Orcish Bowmastered from waiting. And it resolves. I'm going to hide Flow State on top of my deck. Play the Arid Mesa, and I will pass the turn. Our opponent appears to be casting a Murktide Regent. Sure thing. 4 cards in their hand. I want the Manamorphose on top of my deck, so I'm not going to fetch. We'll make red-blue. Now I'll go grab the other basic mountain. We'll play the Rite of Flame. Manamorphose again. Make another 2 red mana. Now I will play Flow State. The Force of Will exiling Tameo. They have 2 cards remaining. I'll play Burning Wish. This seems like a reasonable spot for Storm of Memories. We'll grab it. Play my land for the turn. Hopefully we hit a spell. Perfect. Put it to the graveyard. Storm of Memories. Brainstorm. We'll cast it. Put back the 2 spells, I suppose. I guess they're all spells, but the 2 spells I would like to reveal. Manamorphose. Blue-red. Ren's Resolve. Wait, how did Ren's Resolve... I could have swore I put back... Oh no, I drew a card off the Manamorphose. Okay, ignore me. I'm catching up now. We'll play Flow State. We'll take the Rail Monsoon Mage and Brainstorm. Reckless Impulse. And now Storm of Memories. The Desperate Ritual. We'll play Rail Monsoon Mage. And Rite of Flame. Tails. Yes. Ultimate the Rail Leyline Prodigy. And that's going to be the ball game. Seething Song. I guess we can just end it. I'll play Burning Wish for Grape Shot. Here we go. Love it. I'll let you trigger. Double Thoughtseize, Force of Will, Wasteland, Daze. Did not matter. Okay. I'm going to sideboard like I did in match number 1. I'll bring in 2 into the Floodmaw and the pair of Hexing Squelchers for the Brainstorms. A lot of these decks are playing Damping Sphere for the Tron strategies, and I just don't want to be cold to a Damping Sphere. What I'm hoping is the final game of this league. We are on the draw. I will keep. Our opponent leads off with an Underground Sea. We'll play Bloodstained Mire. Drawing the 4th land, I am going to grab a Surveil land now. I think it's pretty unlikely that we get Wastelanded out of the game. They play Consider, Milling Over Ponder. That's the dream if you have a Flow State on turn 2. But it appears that they do not have the turn 2 Flow State. They play Bloodstained Mire, and now a Ponder. That's a lot of digging. On their end step, I will fetch and grab the Thundering Falls. Surveil, keep the Rail Monsoon Mage, and I think I'll just play the other Scalding Tarn and pass, because I have some interest in grabbing the other copy of Thundering Falls on the next turn. They play Scalding Tarn, and there's that pesky Damping Sphere. So I'm glad I boarded into the Floodmaw. We'll fetch, grab the other Thundering Falls, get rid of the Burning Wish, we'll play Mountain, and Rail Monsoon Mage. They fetch in response for an Undercity Sewers. Rail Monsoon Mage. It resolves! Let's go. That doesn't mean it's going to stick, but I think resolving is step 1. So ideally here, our opponent would play a Flow State, land Thoughtseize. I bounce the Damping Sphere, and then we get to try to win on our turn. There's land number 4. Ponder. They did not shuffle. Now a 2-mana Fatal Push. Unfortunately, that means that we cannot win on our turn. Okay. Hexing Squelcher. I mean, I like that. We'll play it. Pass the turn. Another Damping Sphere. No way. We're in a lot of trouble now. Let's hope Hexing Squelcher can go the distance. Get in there. Let's try Ren's Resolve. Hopefully hitting a land. I did not. I will pass. This looks like a very large Murktide Regent. No? Just retapping a different land for no reason? Okay. I'm going to attempt to bounce the Murktide. Against Double Damping Sphere, I don't have a ton of time, and I think that buying time by bouncing this will be helpful. I'm sort of hoping they forget that this spell is uncounterable and they try to Force of Will. Because they're tanking on this again. Like, our opponent's just playing very slowly. They're tapping 2 mana. Please counter this. They daze. I will not pay. They just want the instant in the graveyard for the delve. We draw Rite of Flame. We'll attack with a Hexing Squelcher. We'll play the other one. Pass the turn. I would love if this league ended with just me beating our opponent to death with little goblins. They play a flow state. So Murktide Regent actually works somewhat well with Damping Sphere, because if you stack it right, you can actually pay the additional cost with Murktide Regent for the additional tax on the spells. So you could end up with a larger than 8/8 dragon. On the end step, I'm going to cycle the Manamorphose. I don't think holding this makes any sense anymore. We'll do blue-red. Land is honestly fine. We'll play our fetch land, go to combat, swing. Our opponent is now at 9. I will fetch, grab Volcanic Island. I think I just want the sideboard Boomerang Basics here. Yep, we have Boomerang Basics. Go. Try replaying that Murktide Regent. Come on. These goblins want to attack. They play Tamiyo, sure. Brainstorm costs 3 mana if they want to transform. And they do replay the Murktide Regent. We'll begin with Flow State. And I still have enough mana to play Boomerang Basics. We'll take a Ruby Medallion and a land. Play the land. Bounce the Murktide Regent. And attack. They'll block and take 2 down to 7. They swing. They get to create their clue. And I think now they're going to transform the Tamiyo. And they do. They play their land. 3 mana now. They fetch down to 6 for a Ponder. I think these Damping Spheres are honestly hurting our opponent more than they're hurting me right now. 8 minutes on their clock. They plus the Tamiyo. I think I have one more fetchable in the deck here. So this is our last land. No, I have the island. I should grab the island. Alright, we'll go to combat. Swing at them. I'm not attacking Tamiyo. So they'll go to 4. We'll play Flow State. Take into the Flood Maw. And Reckless Impulse. And now we'll play the Ruby Medallion and pass. I can bounce the Tamiyo at some point. I don't think I'm supposed to respond here because they could replay the Tamiyo as a blocker. But maybe that's fine. So they would go to 2. I think I'm going to just let them Flow State. Because if they cast another spell before they plus the Tamiyo, then I can kill them. They play Bloodstained Mire as their land. They fetch. They're at 3 for a basic swamp. This looks like a Murktide Regent that I will be bouncing with into the Flood Maw. Yep. Want to know where that Murktide Regent belongs? In your hand. Put it back there. So now we can attack the opponent down to 1. And our opponent has conceded the match. Here we are, 5-0 undefeated with Izzet Ruby Storm. I loved it. You know, I was skeptical in the deck tech. I'm sure watching it, you know, you might have felt that way, where I was like, I kind of like the idea of Ponder. I wouldn't have cut Flow State. I like Flow State, but I was like, would Ponder be better than maybe some of the Ren's Resolves? And I think throughout the league, Ren's Resolve proved itself. So Peyton Story, you were right. I was wrong. Ruby Medallion and Flow State, there was a couple points where it was a tiny bit awkward, but ultimately I thought it worked just fine. I loved the 75. So Peyton, thank you for the donation deck. I truly appreciate your support. I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of Izzet Ruby Storm and Legacy. And that's all I've got for today. So I hope you have a wonderful day. And as always, keep storming. That Bryant Cook, he just went 5-0, undefeated, and got a trophy. And if you want to be like him, make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe. That way you're always up to date on the latest and greatest technology. Another way that you can get better, joining our Discord, where you can talk about today's video with other like-minded individuals that are looking to improve their game. Thanks for watching.